I was feeling pretty good as my flight touched down in Seattle. 5 days in Chicago had paid off with the biggest account of my career, and all I wanted was to hug Tyler and Emma and fall asleep next to Amanda. The buzzing of my phone interrupted my daydream. It was a text from my brother Jake. "Do not go home tonight." My stomach dropped. I called him immediately, but no answer. Another text popped up. "Just trust me and stay away." What the hell was going on with my family? Before you join me on this nightmare journey, let me know where you are watching from. Hit that subscribe button, and stay with me. You will not believe where this story goes. The bright autumn sun filtering through the airplane window felt like a cruel contrast to the dark pit forming in my stomach. I stared at the phone in my hand, reading and rereading those 8 words from Jake. "Do not go home tonight." Jake and I had always been close, despite taking different life paths. While I went into marketing and built my career creating campaigns for educational technology companies, Jake had joined the military right out of high school. After 3 tours overseas, he had transitioned into private security work. He was not one for dramatic warnings or overreactions. I tried calling him 3 more times while waiting for my luggage, but each call went straight to voicemail. His second text, "Just trust me and stay away," only intensified my panic. What could possibly be happening at my home that would warrant such a warning? Amanda and I had been married for 12 wonderful years. We met in college. She was studying nursing while I was finishing my business degree. Everyone said we were perfect together, and I believed it too. After graduation, we settled in Seattle, where she became a pediatric nurse at Swedish Medical Center, and I worked my way up at Horizon Marketing. Tyler came along 2 years into our marriage, a thoughtful, sensitive boy who excelled at soccer and mathematics. Emma followed 3 years later, our fierce little artist with opinions bigger than her 7-year-old frame. We had built what I thought was a rock-solid life in our suburban home just outside the city. The promotion I received 6 months ago meant more travel, 3 or 4 days each month visiting potential clients across the country. But the increased income had allowed Amanda to reduce her hours at the hospital and spend more time with the kids. Everything had been going so well. At least that was what I thought. The Chicago trip had been particularly successful. Our team pitched a comprehensive marketing strategy for EdTech Innovations, a company revolutionizing elementary school learning platforms. They loved our ideas and signed a contract worth 7 figures over the next 2 years. My colleagues and I celebrated with dinner at a steakhouse overlooking the Chicago River before I headed back to my hotel for an early night before my morning flight. Before falling asleep, I had called home, as I did every night when traveling. Tyler told me about scoring 2 goals in his soccer game, and Emma described in painstaking detail the watercolor painting she had created of our family. When Amanda got on the phone, she seemed a bit distracted, but I chalked it up to the normal chaos of managing 2 active kids alone. "Love you," she had said before hanging up. "See you tomorrow." Now standing in the baggage claim area with the gifts I had bought them at O'Hare, a Chicago sports jersey for Tyler, an art set for Emma, and a silver bracelet for Amanda, I felt like I was in some bizarre alternate reality. I pulled up our home security app on my phone. The exterior cameras showed nothing unusual. Our modest 2-story colonial looked peaceful in the afternoon light. No strange vehicles in the driveway, no signs of trouble. I texted Jake again. "What is going on? Are Amanda and the kids okay?" His response came quickly this time. "They are physically fine. Come to my place. Do not go home or call Amanda yet. Please, Kevin." The drive from SeaTac Airport to Jake's place in Bellevue normally took about 30 minutes. But with midday traffic, it stretched to nearly an hour. Every minute felt like torture as my mind raced through worst-case scenarios. Had there been a break-in? Was someone threatening my family? Had Amanda been hiding something dangerous from me? As I drove, memories from the last few months started to resurface with new significance. Amanda had been going out more often with work friends I had never met. There had been several nights when I called home while on previous trips, and she did not answer, explaining later that she had been in the shower or helping the kids with homework. Small inconsistencies in her stories about where she had been or who she had been with, details I had dismissed at the time, now loomed large in my thoughts. I tried calling Amanda anyway, despite Jake's warning. The call went straight to voicemail, increasing my anxiety further. Hey, it is me, I said after the beep, trying to keep my voice steady. Just landed. On my way home. Love you. The lie felt strange on my lips, but I needed to know how she would respond. No call back came as I navigated through the Bellevue streets to Jake's modern apartment complex. When I pulled into the visitor parking, I noticed Jake waiting for me by the entrance, his expression grim in a way I had only seen once before, when he returned from his second combat tour. Jake ushered me inside without a word, his hand gripping my shoulder with unusual tension. His apartment, typically organized with military precision, showed signs of a hasty investigation. Papers spread across the coffee table, an open laptop surrounded by empty coffee cups, and a whiteboard with timelines sketched in his precise handwriting. Sit down, he said, gesturing to the couch. The cushion felt too soft, almost swallowing me, as I sank into it, my body suddenly heavy with dread. What the hell is going on? I demanded, my patience evaporating. You cannot just text me not to go home without an explanation. Jake ran a hand through his short hair, a gesture I recognized from childhood as his way of organizing difficult thoughts. Yesterday I got a call from Miguel, he began. Miguel was his colleague at the security firm, a former intelligence officer. He lives 3 houses down from you. My head started spinning. Miguel. From the block party last summer. What does he have to do with anything? He noticed a pattern. Jake continued, his voice. Professional, detached. The same tone he used when describing tactical situations from his military days. Every time you go on a business trip, the same car parks down the street from your house. Same guy visits your home. Stays late. The implication hit me like a physical blow. No, I said, shaking my head. Amanda would not do that. There is an explanation. Jake's eyes reflected pain. Not for himself, but for me. I wish there was brother. He opened his laptop and turned it toward me. Miguel has a comprehensive security system with a camera range that includes part of your street. He pulled these for me when he noticed the pattern. The video was dated 3 weeks ago, during my Denver trip. The timestamp showed 8:47 p.m. The footage clearly showed Amanda opening our front door, embracing a tall man with dark hair before leading him inside. The children were visible briefly in the background. This could be anyone, I said desperately. A friend, a colleague, someone from the hospital. Jake said nothing, just clicked to another video. 2 months ago, during my Minneapolis trip. Same man, different clothes. Another embrace, more intimate this time. Your kids are being groomed to accept this man, Jake said softly. Look how comfortable they appear with him. The next video showed the man helping Emma with what looked like homework at our kitchen table, visible through the window. Another showed him playing basketball in our driveway with Tyler. In each video, he appeared increasingly comfortable in my home with my children. My stomach lurched, and I barely made it to Jake's bathroom before vomiting. The taste of airline coffee burned my throat as I heaved. When I returned pale and shaking, Jake had a glass of water waiting. Who is he? I managed to ask. His name is Jason Mercer. He works at the hospital with Amanda, not in pediatrics but in administration. Miguel recognized him because his kid had surgery there last year. Jake slid a folder toward me. I ran a background check. The folder contained printouts of social media profiles, employment records, and what appeared to be a partial criminal record. He has a sealed juvenile file, Jake explained. My contact at the department couldn't give details but implied it was serious. Serious enough that it should have prevented him from working at a children's hospital. The room seemed to tilt as I processed this information. Not only was my wife having an affair, but she was bringing someone with a potentially dangerous past into our home, around our children. There is more, Jake said, his voice gentle but firm. I accessed your family phone plan records. Thousands of text messages between Amanda and Jason over the past 6 months. Explicit conversations. Plans coordinated around my business trips. Discussions about their future together. With my children. This one, Jake said, pointing to a highlighted message from last week. She told him you would be gone until tomorrow afternoon. They made plans for him to stay the night, with Tyler and Emma in the house. I felt something break inside me, a fundamental trust I had never questioned until this moment. The 17-year-old memory of Amanda in her wedding dress, promising to love and honor me, shattered into jagged pieces that seemed to cut me from the inside. why I whispered more to myself than to Jake. Why would she do this? Risk. Our family expose our children to someone like him. Jake had no answers, only more evidence. Pictures from Amanda's cloud account that had synced to our shared family plan. Intimate photos sent to Jason. Check-ins at hotels when I thought she was working night shifts. A disturbing message where she complained about my parenting style and how Jason would be so much better for the kids. My pain crystallized into something harder, colder. What do I do now? Jake's expression shifted from sympathy to determination. First, we protect the kids. Then we handle the rest. He outlined a plan. Methodical and strategic, in a way only someone with his background could formulate. We would gather more evidence, consult with a lawyer, and prepare for the confrontation that would inevitably change all our lives. At midnight, Jake's friend Mark arrived, a family attorney who specialized in divorce cases. Still in his pajamas under a hastily donned coat, he reviewed the evidence and explained my options in clinical terms. With this documentation, you have grounds for an emergency custody order, he explained. The introduction of an individual with a sealed criminal record into the home without your knowledge or consent represents a potential safety concern for the children. I struggled to process the legal terminology through my emotional haze. I do not want to take my kids away from their mother, I said. I just want to keep them safe and understand what happened to my marriage. Mark's expression softened. Right now, your priority is protection. We can figure out the permanent arrangements later when you are thinking more clearly. As Mark left with copies of our evidence, Jake made another call, this time to a private investigator who specialized in digital surveillance. We need more, he explained. What happens inside the house when this guy visits? The thought of spying on my own home felt surreal, but I nodded in agreement. If Jason had a dangerous history that could affect my children, I needed to know exactly what was happening under my roof. Jake's security connections worked quickly. By dawn, we had access to the interior cameras Amanda and I had installed years ago but rarely used. The system had been silently reactivated, feeding directly to Jake's secure server rather than our family cloud account. One more thing, Jake said, showing me a new text on his phone. Miguel says his contact at the police department found something. Jason's sealed juvenile record involved an inappropriate relationship with a minor when he was 18. The family dropped charges in exchange for the sealed record. The sickness I felt transformed into something resembling clarity. Whatever was happening in my house had to end immediately. The next 12 hours unfolded with military precision, guided by Jake's tactical experience. We learned that Jason planned to visit that evening. Information gleaned from an intercepted text message where Amanda mentioned she was looking forward to tonight and that the kids are excited to see you too. The private investigator Jake delivered tiny additional cameras disguised as smoke detectors, which Jake himself installed while Amanda took the kids to the park. Information we gathered from the location tracking on her phone. The new cameras gave us views of areas not covered by our existing system, including all bedrooms and bathrooms. I feel like a stalker in my own home, I said as we watched the feeds from Jake's apartment. Sometimes you need to fight fire with fire, he replied, his expression grim. Better to know than to wonder. My lawyer friend Mark returned with preliminary custody paperwork and a temporary restraining order against Jason, ready to be filed at a moment's notice. Do not serve these until we have irrefutable evidence, he advised. We want to go in with everything we need for an emergency hearing. At 3 o'clock, I texted Amanda that my flight had been delayed, but I would be home around 9 that evening, creating the window of observation we needed. Her response came quickly. That is too bad. Kids will be disappointed. Safe travels. Love you. The casual lie twisted the knife deeper. The cameras activated at 5:30, when Amanda and the children returned home. We watched as she hurried them through dinner, then sent them upstairs to shower earlier than their normal routine. At 6:45, she began preparing what appeared to be an adult dinner for two, opening wine-lighting candles on our dining table. She never does that for me anymore. I whispered the domestic betrayal, somehow cutting deeper than the sexual one. Jason arrived at 7:15, entering our home with the confidence of someone who belonged there. He brought toys for my children, an expensive remote control car for Tyler, and an art set for Emma that made my airport gift seem paltry in comparison. The kids greeted him with comfortable familiarity, Tyler giving him a high five while Emma wrapped her arms around his waist in a hug that used to be reserved for me. "Look how long this has been going on," Jake said quietly. "This is not new for them." We watched as they ate dinner together, a perfect picture of family harmony that excluded me entirely. After the meal, Jason helped with homework while Amanda cleaned up. Later, they all played a board game in the living room, Monopoly, Tyler's favorite, with natural interactions that suggested this was a regular occurrence. At 8:30, Amanda announced bedtime, and what happened next broke something fundamental inside me. Jason accompanied her upstairs and participated in the bedtime routine, reading Emma a story while Amanda helped Tyler with his science project. They moved between bedrooms with the coordinated rhythm of parents who had developed a system. When both children were tucked in, Jason kissed each of them on the forehead. My son and daughter accepted this intimate gesture without hesitation. "Enough," I said, standing abruptly. "I have seen enough." Jake grabbed my arm. "Wait. We need to see what happens after the kids are asleep. For the custody case." What followed confirmed every fear. Amanda and Jason retreated to our bedroom, the bedroom I shared with my wife, where intimate moments unfolded that will forever be seared into my memory. "Turn it off," I demanded, my voice breaking. "We have what we need." Jake nodded grimly and closed the laptop. "What do you want to do?" The rage that had been building transformed into cold determination. "I'm going home right now." Jake's tactical mind immediately shifted to implementation. Not alone, and not without backup. 3 phone calls later, we had a plan. Jake's friend Paul, a police officer, would be parked nearby, ready to intervene if necessary. Mark would be on standby with the legal paperwork. Jake would accompany me, and we would bring the evidence on a tablet, ready to confront the situation head-on. The drive to my house felt surreal, as if I were floating outside my body. The familiar streets of our neighborhood seemed alien, belonging to a life that no longer existed. When we parked a block away from my home, I could see Jason's car in our driveway, a luxury sedan that represented everything that had been stolen from me. "Ready?" Jake asked, his hand on my shoulder. I nodded, unable to form words through the tightness in my throat. We approached silently, using the side entrance that led directly to the kitchen. With my key in the lock, I took one final breath of my old life before stepping into whatever came next. Amanda and Jason were curled together on our living room couch, watching a movie, his arm around her shoulders in casual intimacy. The sound of the door opening caused them both to turn their expressions, transforming from confusion to shock as they registered my presence. "Kevin." Amanda jumped up, her face draining of color. "You said you would not be home until 9. "Surprise," I said, my voice unrecognizable even to myself. Jason stood slowly, a nervous smile attempting to form on his face. "Hey man, this is not what it looks like." The absurdity of the statement might have been comical in different circumstances. "Really," I replied, my voice deadly calm as Jake moved to stand beside me. "Because it looks like you are making yourself comfortable in my house with my wife after kissing my children goodnight." Amanda's eyes widened at the specific detail, a clear indication that I knew more than I should. "The kids," she began, glancing toward the stairs. "They are sleeping. We should talk outside." "We are not going anywhere," I stated firmly. "But Jason is leaving." "Now." Jason looked to Amanda, clearly seeking direction. His hesitation ignited something primal within me. "Get out of my house," I said, stepping toward him. "Kevin, please," Amanda pleaded. "Let me explain." Jake intervened with perfect timing, pulling out his phone. "Officer Paul is outside," he said, "and he would be very interested to hear about how a man with your kind of history, Jason, has been spending time with children." Jason's face changed instantly, fear replacing his earlier confidence. "What are you talking about, your sealed juvenile record?" Jake continued. "Not so sealed anymore." The mention of his past seemed to deflate Jason entirely. Without another word, he grabbed his jacket and moved toward the door. Amanda tried to follow him, her hand catching his arm. "Do not leave," she begged. I blocked her path. "Let him go, Amanda. Your priority right now should be our children." As if summoned by our raised voices, Tyler appeared at the top of the stairs, rubbing his eyes. "Dad, you are home early." His face brightened momentarily before registering the tension in the room. "What is happening? Why is Uncle Jake here? Why does Mom look sad?" Amanda turned to our son, struggling to compose herself. Everything is fine, sweetie. Go back to bed. Nothing is fine, I said firmly. But it will be. I moved toward the stairs past Amanda and climbed to where Tyler stood. Kneeling to his level, I embraced him tightly. I missed you, buddy. Over Tyler's shoulder, I watched as Jason slipped out the front door, Amanda's pleading gaze following him. Jake stepped outside briefly, presumably to alert Officer Paul, then returned to stand guard at the entrance. Why is everyone acting weird? Tyler whispered against my neck. Sometimes grown-ups have complicated problems, I told him, fighting to keep my voice steady. Right now, I think you should pack a bag with pajamas and clothes for tomorrow. We are going to have a sleepover at Uncle Jake's. Tyler's eyes widened. Is Emma coming too? Yes. I nodded. Can you help her pack a small bag? I need to talk to Mom for a minute. As Tyler disappeared into his sister's room, I descended the stairs to face the woman I had loved for nearly half my life. A stranger, now tears streaming down her face. You cannot take my children, she said, her voice breaking. I handed her the tablet Jake had prepared, showing a still image from the bedroom camera. I can, and I will. At least for tonight. Tomorrow, we will figure out what happens next. The confrontation that followed was both devastating and clarifying. Amanda's justifications and explanations washed over me without penetrating the armor of betrayal I now wore. Her tears, once capable of moving mountains within me, now seemed manipulative and hollow. When the children appeared with their small backpacks, Emma still half asleep in her unicorn pajamas, Amanda made one final appeal. Please do not do this, she begged. We can talk about this. The kids should stay home. I looked at her directly, seeing her clearly, perhaps for the first time. This stopped being home the moment you brought him into it. 6 months have passed since that night. The suburban house with the white picket fence now belongs to someone else. A young couple, starting their journey together, blissfully unaware of the pain those walls witnessed. I hope they create happier memories there than my final ones. The 3-bedroom apartment Tyler, Emma, and I now call home lacks a yard but makes up for it with floor-to-ceiling windows that flood the space with natural light. Emma has covered her bedroom walls with art, bright, hopeful creations that track her healing journey better than any therapist's notes could. Tyler has adapted with the resilience children sometimes mysteriously possess, excelling in his new school, and forming friendships through the soccer team I now assistant coach. The divorce proceedings moved swiftly, aided by the mountain of evidence Jake helped me compile. Amanda did not contest the temporary custody arrangement that became permanent last month, perhaps understanding the damage her decisions had caused, perhaps unwilling to have her behavior scrutinized in court. She sees the children twice weekly during supervised visits and must complete parenting and therapy sessions before overnight stays will be considered. I learned through the legal process that Jason had been pursuing Amanda for nearly a year before she reciprocated, targeting her specifically, perhaps seeing a vulnerable mother whose husband traveled frequently. His sealed juvenile record involved an inappropriate relationship with a 15-year-old when he was 18, the charges reduced and sealed through his parents' connections and money. The hospital conducted a new background investigation after our case came to light and terminated his employment. My own healing has been less linear than the children's. Some days I function with mechanical precision, work children household management flowing in perfect sequence. Other days, a song on the radio or the scent of Amanda's favorite coffee can send me spiraling into anger or grief that I carefully hide behind bathroom doors. The company I work for demonstrated unexpected compassion, creating a position that eliminated travel requirements while maintaining my salary and benefits. My team now develops virtual marketing presentations rather than delivering them in person across the country. The irony is not lost on me. My career advancement indirectly contributed to the space where betrayal flourished, yet that same career now provides the stability my children and I need to rebuild. Jake remains our rock Sunday dinners at his apartment, becoming a cherished ritual. He never once said "I told you so," or reminded me of his role in uncovering the truth. Instead, he taught Tyler to fish in the lake near his apartment complex, built furniture for our new home. And once, when he thought I could not hear, told Emma that sometimes families change shape, but never stop being families. The therapy sessions I initially resisted have become essential to my recovery. Doctor, Winters helped me understand that vigilance and paranoia are different creatures, one protective, one destructive. She guided me toward forgiveness, not as reconciliation, but as personal liberation. Forgiveness does not mean what happened was okay, she often reminds me. It means you are no longer allowing it to control your future. Last week I received a letter from Amanda, her first communication outside of custody arrangements and child-related matters. She wrote of regret, of therapy revelations about her own insecurities, of the devastating consequences of choices made during moments of weakness. The Amanda who wrote those words seemed more like the woman I married than the stranger I confronted that night. I have not yet decided whether to respond. Some wounds heal best with closure, others with distance. What matters most now is that Tyler and Emma see their father standing strong, building something new from the wreckage of what was lost. If there is wisdom to be found in betrayal, perhaps it is. This trust requires both faith and vigilance. Love without attention withers, but attention without trust suffocates. The balance between them is where healthy relationships thrive. I do not know if I will ever fully trust another partner. That bridge will be crossed when, if, I reach it. What I do know is that the pain that once defined my every waking moment has receded enough to make space for joy again. In my children's laughter, in quiet moments of personal achievement, in the simple pleasure of a life that, while different than planned, still contains beauty worth embracing. To those of you watching who have experienced betrayal in its many forms, I hope my story offers some small comfort. The path through pain is never straight, never predictable, but it does eventually lead somewhere new. Have you ever had to rebuild your life after a betrayal? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might help someone else who is just starting their healing journey. If this resonated with you, please hit like and subscribe for more real stories of resilience and recovery. Thank you for walking this path with me, and remember, sometimes the most painful endings create space for the most beautiful beginnings.